Hello everyone. In this video, we will look at buying business services and the specificities related to it. The goal of my discussion with you today is to highlight the differences that exist between buying services and buying goods, knowing that buying services is becoming more and more relevant. We look at the specificities of specific services, as well as we look at general concepts like the service level agreement. Now, let's get into the specificities of the services and purchasing of the services. Knowing that services are characterized by being intangible, perishable, heterogeneous, and sometimes the production of the service is simultaneous to its use. This creates some complexities because the quality of the services is much more difficult to be judged in advance. And when I consider a supplier, I have to consider its capabilities, its past performance, but I don't have a production lot, like in the case of the manufacturing. I've got a lot, I assess its quality, and it's done. No. With the services, it's much more complicated. And even more, purchasing services span across a wide range, from very operational services like the facility services, the cleaning services. I need to get someone who cleans the office every morning, up to consulting services, strategic consulting to the top management. You understand that these services needs to be managed in a very different way. More and more, what once used to be a straight purchase of tangible goods is becoming, in certain cases, the purchase of a service. Think about a server, hardware. Once I used to buy hardware and software. Now I tend to buy IT services. Think about the cloud services. So I'm not buying any longer a server, I'm buying an IT service, a cloud service. When I deal with the purchasing of a service, I've got several steps. First of all, before the contract, a pre-contractual stage, which is basically related to understanding clearly the specifications. The specifications, both in terms of inputs, in terms of throughput, and in terms of output. Why I say input, throughput, and output? Because I clearly want to get the output, but in order to assure the reliability, I need also to see how the service company is working in terms of the input they are using, as well as the service production process they are adopting. Once I define the specification, I'll go and look for adequate service provider. So I do the selection of the service providers. And this selection can be often bounded by the fact that services need to be local, not always, but often. Then it starts the contractual part. I do go for contracting for the services. A major part of contracting for the services is defining the service level agreement. Service level agreement is the level of service that the supplier is committed to provide me, and it needs to be defined in a very specific way. If I'm purchasing IT services, I need to tell the provider I want to have a functioning structure so that my information system, my enterprise information system, can work smoothly. This is true, but it's too vague. I need to tell them your server needs to respect 99% functioning. So this is a service level agreement. Your machine, your service should be provided regularly 98% of the times, and so on. This is a very tricky issue because whenever I want to something more, I need to pay extra, and when something more with respect to the service level agreement, and whenever the supplier is below the service level agreement, I can claim a refund. Therefore, it's a very critical matter. If I define it very correctly, everything will work smoothly. Otherwise, there will be a lot of claims from one side and the other. Last but not least, this once this is done, there is a post-contractual stage where I manage the contract. The pre-contractual and the post-contractual stage are very different, whether I'm considering different type of services. Services traditionally purchase services were very basic. Business travels, cleaning, printing services. Now more and more I've got IT services, strategic consulting services. And therefore you understand that the role of the purchasing is very different. And sometimes there are elements entering into the picture. Also, the specific relationships between the user of the service and the service provider. If I'm purchasing a strategic consulting services for my CEO, I cannot go on the market without taking into account the preferences of my CEO, his or her previous experience. So, purchasing services has become more and more relevant. It's more and more critical because services are becoming more and more critical for the companies. And it's very much differentiated.